Day one. She was the true definition of a ride or die chick. And as my hand paces up and down her thighs, she looks at me with big fuck me eyes. We had agreed on no strings attached. Just some fun fuck with no aftermath feelings. Grinding hips with morning lips, body so drips while you get off fix. My lips still touching her neck, heart pounding, blood racing languid moments. I am breathless before her tabernacle. Orchid soft against my kisses. A beauty without equal. In no rush, I lose myself in her uneven breathing. The tightening of her belly in a gasping shiver. Hands beneath her hips. Sheets gripped in her black knuckled fists. I want to feel her come. Warm against my tongue. Closer and closer. Some deep part of her, primal, wild and beautiful, feels a faltering rhythm as she twines her fingers in my hair, urging me against her. On waves of rising momentum, escalating past fears unfounded, I know this river well, taking her, gently, firmly, past rapids and shallows to a grand cascading waterfall holding at the crest where the raging currents and twists us in buffeting waves to join the melt to a drop drenched in release. Her words pressed through clenched teeth and gasping breaths, while her legs tremor like a prayer to St. Vitus. The crest is broken, and I am embraced by her blushing thighs, my senses wrapped in her. Taste, smell, touch, sight. My hearing filled, her ecstatic sighs unleashed. Then growing, slowly more quiet in diminishing waves, spent and seeking the shore, entangled sheets to sprawl, immediate appetites appeased. Her, naked and glistening, trembling from aftershocks, me in reverie still tasting her like honeysuckle on my lips. A few moments later, and she's eyeing me with a coy smile, laying there on her belly, face half hidden by her pillow. I can caress her speckled skin from the tip of her shoulders down the arc of her back to linger among her graceful curves. At this sweeping brush across her clandestine beauty, her eyes close, while her hips press small such waves against the bed. Come here, she demands with the crook of her finger. Her smoldering eyes brook no argument. She was heaven and she was hell. And when we finished, I lay there in bed, breathless, waiting to get the feeling back in my legs. Day two. We meet again at the bar counter as though we planned on it. I find it a coincidence, and later that night, the simple one-night stand becomes two. And in 2 nights, I found meaning to the screams of the night. If it was a dream, I didn't want to wake up. As I felt the heat between us grow, her thoughts become my words, irrevocably enmeshed, seamless in our link collective. Ideas fall into space, emotional synapses, fire breaking laws of non-physics, where the heat between my legs is a direct correlation of symbiotic minds. My body stretches as a scorching libido roars and calling for the laughter and meaning. Only her body is skilled and carved to perfectly fit, so saturate and satiate, to spark and rage flames, then precisely extinguish that insistent lust. Being proudly unashamed of thundering mutual cries, of mouths full of decadence, of minds part of each other's infinite exotic need to find the very core. Day 3. I'm walking on the beat and just she is. But she isn't. It's just my mind playing games on me. For now, I see her in every corner I look. I'm hooked. It's only day 3 and she's become my drug. The one thing I can't seem to get out of my system. Not that I like her. Nah. Just the way she makes me feel when we're lost in each other. A series of lessons learned from Disney movies. Little, Red, Riding Hood. Wolf wants with a girl. Wolf wants with a girl so badly that he pretends to be a role model, a family member, a mentor. In this story, we learn that monsters can be spotted easily. So we get the word: predators. Sleeping Beauty. Girl gets drugged. Boy tries to save girl for a prize. So girl is a prize, not a human. So we learn the word opportunists. I guess this is the perfect metaphor of my fear of intimacy. On that first assault, I gasted myself into Little Red Riding Hood, someone who led danger into their own home. So the story goes, I met a boy. We agreed to go home together. The boy grew tired, so he takes and takes. And in that story, I say nothing. But in this one, I say everything we took, I want back. But it all gets muddled up in some fairy tale complex. Because every story ever created in a Disney movie was meant so that the hero can save us. Not the community, linguists, or therapy. Every sequel created to patch up this issue happens. So what happens when there is no hero? Just someone waiting for the story to end. I want to go back. I want to go back and write a poem and give it a title in which I tell Disney to write movies about assault and the things they teach boys. So I enter the office all wide-eyed and staring at. They ask me about my idea, so I say, it's like Little Red Riding Hood. We'll fancy a girl. We'll fancy a girl so bally that he pretends to be a role model, a family member, a mentor. But in this story, the wolf only gets what he asks for. So if he asks for a piece of a girl and she says no, the wolf leaves. They don't like this idea. They say consent isn't how you make a movie. The consent isn't how you make a climax. And furthermore, consent is inappropriate for the audience. But I say it can be. So repeat after me. Coercion is not consent. You see, coercion is every language you haven't learned to say no in. Mulan was a movie about invading people's land. I believe these kids can understand a little conversation about boundaries. So I want a Disney movie with a soundtrack that I can dance to or cry naked in the shower. But what I want most is a movie where someone fights for their life and right before the climax, pulls out one of their teeth, uses it as a sword to prove that mouths can be used as weapons too. A series of lessons learned from Disney movies. Inaingia ikinipata bare chest kwa bed. Na mkono kwa forehead. Fikra zikinidanganya nitachange. Walishoot their shots, sai fingers wamecross, mine nisi change. Nipeni privacy, nimechoka kuona sehemu yetu kwa public. Na ile virusi bado ni kitendawili. Dawa ni kupretend haija exist. Amenitext tu sahi najua ananipenda. Ananipenda, but najua nijia ile pesa. Hela painful, ile time tamwambia pesa. Hizi sio zangu, si atakimbia kilia. Ati, Mungu moja, Mungu ngoja. Usije ukantenda hivi hata kama wajua mimi mwivi. Kupiga tizi, kupika ndizi, kuwa healthy. But you wote mnajua na landizi kwa those all I have see plenty. Si inaingia, ikinipata bare chest kwa bed. Na mkono, kwa forehead. Fikra zikinidanganya nitachange. Walishoot their shots, sai fingers wamecross, mine nisi change.